Everyone and their grandmother knew the hype surrounding Trevor Lawrence and his status as a draft prospect entering the 2021 NFL Draft. He was a highly touted recruit in the class of 2018 when he was a Clemson commit, and proceeded to follow the hype up with winning a national championship over the 7-time national champion Nick Saban and his Alabama Crimson Tide. Trevor eventually became one of the best quarterback prospects of the 21st century, and the rest is history in terms of his draft process. Round 1, pick 1, Trevor to whether it was the Jags or Jets a year ago at this time, pencil it in and move on with the mock draft. But here we are in late November of his rookie year, and the can't miss of can't miss prospects is struggling. And while Trevor is struggling, and he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since Halloween, by the way, we are going to break down why he is struggling and why, for now at least, it can be set right. Now, within these growing pains, there has been some good, and while they may not necessarily show up on the stat sheet in tremendous and outstanding ways, it is not pure bad and there's nothing to look forward to, because that simply would not be true, as there's a lot to look forward to with Trevor and his game. So without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with Trevor's stat line, as through 10 games he has 8 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, is completing just 58% of his passes, and the Jags are 2-8. And to make matters worse, if you take away his first game against the historically bad Houston Texans, which he threw 3 touchdowns in that game, he would be on pace to throw just 9 touchdowns over the course of a 16-game season and win just 4 games. And to make matters worse, Trevor is 31st out of 34 candidates in the NFL right now in completion percentage in quarterbacks that have at least 140 passing attempts, and is only ahead of Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trevor Siemian. And to further show how bad it's been, Trevor is ranked dead last of quarterbacks in throws that are considered on target by Pro Football Reference, staggering in at 67.9%, and as of now, during the creation of this video, Trevor is the only quarterback in the 60s, so everyone else that you may like to either A, make fun of because they suck, or B, think is a bad quarterback, like maybe a Sam Darnold of the Panthers or Jared Goff of the Lions, for example, well, they're both ahead of Trevor, and pretty monumentally at that. Trevor is also 3rd in the NFL in bad throw percentage, behind only Fields and Wilson, and directly ahead of Jameis Winston and Baker Mayfield in this category. Lawrence's bad throw percentage is 23.4%, so nearly 1 in 4 is deemed to be a bad throw. Now, I'd imagine you're probably asking, or yourself, or thinking the magical question, well, what does the pressure percentage look like for Trevor? How much pressure is he facing from opposing teams' pass rush versus other players? And honestly, it's not as much as you'd think. He ranks 15th out of 34 with opposing defenses getting in his face for 23.9% of passing plays, and to compare, Aaron Rodgers has faced pressure on 23.1% of passing plays, so just 0.8% less. Rodgers is having a pretty good year and just had a 385-yard 4-passing touchdown performance on Sunday, so it's not like Trevor is facing absurd defenses week after week, and defensive minds like Bill Belichick are getting together and saying, how can we make this rookie's life hell? Through the growing pains alone that Trevor as a rookie has to face is to a degree doing that. And one more stat I wanted to share was pocket time, which is defined as the average time the QB had in the pocket between the snap and throwing the ball, or pressure collapses in the pocket. The average time Trevor has is 2.3 seconds, which is tied with Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Justin Herbert, and also fellow rookie Mac Jones. So again, Trevor isn't in his own world in terms of pocket time, as in having significantly less than everyone else. But there are some things the Jags have been doing right, and the first play I wanted to highlight was a 16-yard completion to second-year receiver and playmaker Laviska Shenault. On paper, it is what it is, a 16-yard gain and a first down, but what I liked in this was it was the Jags need to do more of. Get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Make no mistake about it, no one is going to think Laviska, Marvin Jones, and James Robinson for superstars. but they're not bad, and they're not bad for a rookie quarterback to have and to lean on. This play succeeded because it was a man-to-man call by the defense, and the key here is the ball comes out quick to Shenault. The Jags were, in a sense, running a pick play because of how far corner K'Waun Williams was playing off of Shenault with 7 yards of depth, and when it's a man-to-man call and there is that much room, this is screaming for a quarterback to throw a quick pass, whether it is a slant inwards or a quick out, which is what this was, by the way, or anything to get the ball into the receiver's hands. Now, I don't know anyone that legitimately thought Urban Meyer was a good hire, so I'm not getting into that part of the Jags franchise today, but calling plays like this, ones to get Trevor Lawrence into rhythm and for him to make nice and, as we would say, quarterback-friendly throws like this is so key and critical in his development. Not every play needs the Patrick Mahomes off-script sideways throwing the ball to Tyreek 65-yard plays, and even Pat himself was redshirted. But when watching tape, this one play I truly loved from start to finish from the Jags' perspective. One of the interceptions Trevor threw earlier in the year I wanted to highlight was against the Titans. Now, if you are unaware, as in you may have not watched this game, because the fact of the matter is it was a 2-2 team versus an 0-4 team, and there were better games on this day, like the thrilling Bengals-Packers game, for example. This interception was thrown on the very final play of the game, and furthermore, it was the 10th play of a drive in a 2-minute drill, so with a combination of a team that was down 18 points and probably, NFL players are people, so probably wanting to, leave the stadium as they got the rear ends kicked, this has to be established when factoring in this play. But when you pause the all-22 and look around at every receiver, where is Trevor actually supposed to throw this ball? Name any quarterback in the history of the NFL, whether it's Tom Brady or Josh Rosen, and tell me if they're completing a pass working with absolutely zero separation on this play. Again, the final play of the game does factor in here, but the fact of the matter is no one in the history of the NFL is completing a pass like this, and if they do, it's more than likely a tipped ball because you're not going to be able to fit a football in a hole the size that a phone charger can't fit through. Now, I'd like to go more off about this play, but I think you guys get the point. Now, this next play we're going to highlight was from the Thursday night game against the Bengals, and it shows how close the Jags and Trevor are from being consistently good, at least on the offensive side of the ball. So, first things first, from a pre-snap perspective, 3rd and 8 on the first drive of the game, and Trevor takes a shot. I absolutely love him taking a shot deep, and think if he releases the ball a 10th of a second earlier, it's a 30-yard completion to Laviska, and quite possibly sets the tone for the entire ball game. But looking how the defense was aligned pre-snap, and Trevor knew immediately it was going to be a zone coverage of some sort, but to what extent is what he did not know. Now, it ends up being a cover 3, but the reason why Trevor was so sure it was a zone coverage was because of how the defensive line and every player there was aligned pre-snap. You don't go man-to-man coverage with corners 8 yards off the ball in a 3rd and 8 situation, because if they do, it's asking for a quick slant to gain really at minimum 6 yards and have a 4th and 2 in a very favorable situation for the offense. I mean, it's common sense. You just don't do that as a defensive coordinator. So Trevor knows not everyone on the line is going to be rushing the quarterback and that someone will be dropping back into coverage. But with Laviska running a go route when he gets really in the grill of the Bengals corner here, you'd like to see the ball out now because Trevor releases it a hair too late. And the reason why it was a hair too late and the reason why it should have been released when Laviska got up into the Bengals corner's grill, up in his face, was because there's not enough time for that player to flip his hips to make a play on Laviska and to tip the ball. And if he does, more credit to him because that would be a very, very good play. Now, when people say it's a game of inches, it does not always apply to red zone situations or big backs making a play here or there. This was a 10th or 2 of a second from being a 30-yard completion versus a 4th and 8. And plays like these are why I do think the ship can more than be righted for Trevor and Jacksonville. Now, the next play is a hair different because unlike the Bengals on the 3rd down we showed, Indy is in a man-to-man call here because like Cincy, they throw everyone on the D-line, and the point of that is to try and confuse a rookie quarterback on 3rd and 9 early in the game and potentially set the tone and try and get maybe a pick, a tipped ball, or something like this. DeForest Buckner takes the left tackle out, so edge Kwity Paye can either get a free run to the quarterback or potentially blow up a guard if the guard pulled back, which he did not. Now, Trevor immediately recognized he'd have little to zero time to throw this football. He puts the ball right in Dan Arnold's hands, but he wasn't ready for the pass and it was incomplete. And when you're a quarterback, you do everything right in a situation like this. Read where the pressure's coming from, get the ball out quick, and your tight end simply wasn't ready, and it could have been as simple as we're not in sync type deal because Dan Arnold being new to the Jags and he was playing on the Panthers for most of the year. It's very frustrating because Trevor's numbers, obviously, we know don't look great considering what he's been working with for all of the year, and that's more speaking from a coaching standpoint. But Trevor has certainly made some rookie mistakes, but what rookie hasn't over the course of time? But there's still a lot to love from Lawrence. It's veteran plays like this when you're picking up a blitz, when you have little to zero time, and you do everything from Trevor's perspective correct. He places a ball right in Dan Arnold's hands and it hits him off the hands. And it's very frustrating from Trevor. Obviously, Trevor can't go to the media and be like, my guy's got to catch the football and these types of things. They got to be ready because the ball's coming out quick. But it is extremely just disappointing, for lack of a better word. I didn't want to use frustrating again. But anyways, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would mean the world. This video did take some extra time to make, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you also had a great Thanksgiving. So until next time, be safe, which the next video will be tomorrow, by the way, but be safe and have a great day.